and welcome to Box. So, way back in May last year, I talked about a robot from way back in Series 2 called Limpet. Well, its team made other robots and are on Twitter. So I apologise for Team 13 for not realising they were on Twitter earlier. This one is not the best known out of the three, nor the most successful. No, this one is Heavy Metal. Heavy Metal is a mid-blue wedge with bright pink highlights and a 360-degree rotating arm. The younger John M, also bought inflatable guitars and a mask to proceedings. However, Heavy Metal had exposed wheels. I mean, very exposed wheels. Now, for those who saw Foxy's episode way back in August 2018, you will know that Foxy's last fight was its first round in Series 9, Episode 3, or Heat C. By pure coincidence, this was Heavy Metal's first fight. Yes, it found a home in Series 9, Heat C. Also in the fight were Ring Spinner Mr. Speed Squared and the flat original version of Expulsion. Also coincidentally, Team 13 shared a booth with Foxy's team, Team Danby. What are the odds? In fact, Foxy was Heavy Metal's first target before Foxy opened the pit and went to deal with Expulsion. So, you'd think that Heavy Metal would now have to deal with Mr. Speed Squared on its own, but nope, Mr. Speed Squared had been going after Expulsion too. So, Heavy Metal joined in that fun and pushed Expulsion around, eventually getting it to the spikes and to hill lot where Foxy gave it his final shove, and that was where Expulsion died after a hit from Mr. Speed Squared. Heavy Metal could also barely move because Mr. Speed Squared had done its worst on that too, and it was going round in circles, but it was moving around. Foxy then met the floor flipper and ended up upside down, and Mr. Speed Squared attacked Expulsion and got hit by the spikes. Cease got called. Heavy Metal got through along with Speed Squared, but not only had to fix a wheel, but their weapon too, which was not the same after that fight. Oh, and their next opponent was Mr. Speed Squared. There was no escape for them this time, especially since their wheels, as before mentioned, very large, very exposed, and they had to spin it to face solo. So, of course, Heavy Metal took the fight to Mr. Speed Squared, ramming into the ring spinner and sending it flying, disabling the spinner at once. Heavy Metal refused to let Mr. Speed Squared be for a second, shoving Mr. Speed Squared into walls, keeping the ring spinner well away from the wheels. And it was already, and we know now that the ring spinner was not spinning. Eventually, Mr. Speed Squared got away, but it was not well because of the aforementioned disabled ring spinner. So Heavy Metal caught up and used Mr. Speed Squared to open the pit. Then Heavy Metal introduced Mr. Speed Squared to the floor flipper, which sent Mr. Speed Squared flying again, and then shunt, and then chased Mr. Speed Squared around the arena, and the spinner nearly drove into the pit. So Heavy Metal then did a short recreation of the Firestorm Stroke Hypno-Disc charge from Series 5. They sensibly played the Firestorm role by shoving Mr. Speed Squared into the pit. Heavy Metal went in, but as Heavy Metal went in second and were doing the pushing, Heavy Metal went and got 3 points for KO. Also, according to live event rules, if you're the robot pushing the other robot into the pit, you win, even if you fall in. Next up was drum spinner concussion, which had issues despite its winning the first fight. Concussion's lack of experience got mentioned as a positive factor for heavy metal. However, Concussion was the one doing all the chasing at the start of the fight and hit the front of Heavy Metal's wedge. And after accidentally exposing its behind and getting too close to the wall, Heavy Metal's wheel got removed by Concussion. Not just from Heavy Metal though, from the arena altogether. I say that counts as a partial out of the arena hit, right? Right? Concussion was, and therefore won the fight because Heavy Metal now could not move, and it got counted out. Their last fight was against the Axebot Thor. The winner would go on to face Concussion in the heat final, so this fight was vital. Thor therefore took the fight to Heavy Metal, driving straight into it and sending it flying. Thor did not let Heavy Metal be for long, and its rubber traction pads kept falling off. Heavy Metal's, that is, not Thor's. The battle stayed near the pit for a while, though it wasn't open, as Heavy Metal took a couple of exits. Thor then sent Heavy Metal to the floor spikes and to Matilda's rear end before axing Heavy Metal again. Then Thor managed to somehow ram a wheel of Heavy Metal, so it couldn't move and Heavy Metal got counted out. Thor then rammed Heavy Metal into the pit release tyre, and Matilda sent Heavy Metal's detached wheel across to a random arena corner with her rear end. That flywheel is vicious. So that sent Heavy Metal out. They had applied for Series 8 and they would go on to apply for Series 10, but in both cases they got rejected, so we never got to see them after Series 9. Heavy Metal was a lot of fun to watch, especially with John M. Denny. He's absolutely fearless driving. There was no fear shown in that fight against Mr. Speed Squared. They could have just as easily, John could have just as easily been absolutely terrified of that spinner, but no. He went in, he took the fight to him. That was all his driving. It's a real shame their weapon didn't get to do much. They were going to have interchangeable stuff, according to John G, the older John. But time meant didn't happen. It would have been interesting how they could have coped with the big spinners, Carbide and Aftershock. Carbide being horizontal, Aftershock a vertical. By the way, thanks for mentioning those two, John G. Denny. I've been wondering how those potential fights could have gone since then. And thanks for answering all the other questions as well. Thank you. So, the big question is, will we get any of those big spinners next? Probably not. But now I've said it. We get one with a long name, I think. Ooh, we get the Beast of Bodmin. Until next week, Calcium244.